Okay, here we are in game 2, and players, of course, they have different colors this game, but that's okay. Now we have ACCM in the blue, and they've swapped civs, so he is playing as the Byzantines. He's up here at the top of the map. And then we have Cool, again in the red, this time playing as the Persians, over here on the right side of the map. Then we have st4rk in the cyan as the Mayans in the south of the map. And finally we have Vinchester in the purple, playing as the Huns over here in the left side of the map. So we'll take another look at their maps. See, Vinchester has some really nice deer. Might not even need to push them if he builds his mill on this side pretty close. Going to delete his wall. Stone in the back, which is nice, but not too important for the Huns. His golds are pretty far forward. Especially these two outside golds outside of his walls and pretty close towards the other team. Over here for st4rk, we have stone, gold, second gold in the back, and other resources in the front, it looks like. It looks like his gold's really far forward. So some really nice resources for st4rk, some resources forward. For Cool, you have main gold in a good position, stone, both stones and a gold outside of his walls towards the front, but at least towards his teammate more so than the other side of the map. And another gold in the back, so looking pretty good for him as the Persians. The stone won't be that important. And then ACCM as the Byzantines. You see main gold kind of in an awkward location near the forest. Could be kind of hard to mine until later in the game he can chop some of those trees out of the way. Other gold forward, stone forward, and other gold also forward. We have an extra gold over here between those two players. And stone in the back along with a few other walls and a boar. And we see him starting to push in his deer. These deer are also in a really good location, pretty close to the mill. So last game we saw when Vinchester and st4rk were playing as the Persians and the Byzantines. They tried to go for a double monk rush, but that didn't work out that well, and the Mayans player was able to push in and take control of the game with his castles and plumed archers. And we'll see how they decide to play it now that they've swapped civs. We have ACCM pushing in his deer, and still has one more deer. Nice that he has 4 deer. As he takes his boar and sends some more villagers over to wood. And he's going to build a second lumber camp over here near this gold, probably hoping to chop some of these trees, get them out of the way so he'll be able to get more villagers on that gold later. And a second lumber camp just coming up now for Cool. And deer coming in as well. For st4rk, also has 4 deer, and he has a relic inside of his base as well. And if we see the relic positions, one is inside of st4rk's base, another one just outside of him, and another one outside of Cool's base, one up here by ACCM, and another one out here in the middle between ACCM and Vinchester. So one that should go for st4rk, but all the other ones, other than perhaps this one, look like they could be fought over. And we have 2 villagers on gold for Vinchester, as he's clicking up on 27 population. And looks like ACCM is going to be our fastest up, with the Byzantines going up on 25 population. And with 2 on gold, we'll see if he decides to go, ooh, and 2 on stone as well. So let's take a look at him and see. He's going with Market Blacksmith, and let's see if he has the resources to click up. He did get all of those deer in nicely, and he hasn't even built a farm yet. And now sending more gold miners over. He might be going for the castle drop into a fast Imperial. So that could be an interesting build to watch if he tries to get some map control with monks and then put the castle, maybe even go forward with the castle. And we see here stable coming in for the Persians player. So Cool will probably be looking to add in some scouts once he gets a bit more food. And we see Market Blacksmith coming in for st4rk. And he's on stone, so it looks like he will be going for a castle. And we have 3 on gold and a stable for the Huns player. So Huns player is going for scouts. So if if we do see a castle, probably will have to be more defensive with these scouts coming out. But scouts also for our Persian player. And apparently they have some lag, and we're going to go and load part 2. And part 2. There we go. And now my dashboard is moved. There you go. Ooh, and Scout getting inside the gate and is going to hold it open. But no, it's going to run away. As both players have their scouts in position to push it back. Another scout coming forward, and st4rk bringing his eagle over. As scout fight going in the favor of Vinchester, as he's taking out some scouts and has more scouts in the area, but now the Persian scouts are coming in and pushing him back. And see, Vinchester did lose one scout and hasn't brought his other scout over, and st4rk doesn't have his eagle warrior in position to help out with this fight either. And ACCM still with only 2 villagers on stone, but almost has enough stone for a castle. Byzantines, of course, having a really cheap Imperial Age, so they don't need as big of an economy. And he is still going to try and come forward with villages, it looks like. And putting down 2 monasteries. And st4rk has his scout there, so he'll see what's going on. And now a knight coming out for the Huns player, as 2 town centers are coming up. And so it looks like our Huns player here, Vinchester, is going to be booming, while trying to defend maybe with a few knights. But this Byzantine fast Imperial could pose problems if that is, of course, what ACCM decides to do, as he still needs a bit more stone before he can put up a castle. And 2 monasteries doing sanctity, getting out a monk. And a knight coming out also for the Persians player. And castle, of course, from the mines. And so st4rk with a castle right now, hasn't yet added in another town center. Persians player has added in a second town center on his gold, and looks like he will be going for 2 town centers, a stable, and now adding in a monastery. And coming forward to build a siege workshop. Still almost 100 stone away from getting a castle. Scout coming in. Ooh, but the scout could pick off the monk. And it does have sanctity, so it will live. And scout will get killed off by that other scout. Now the eagle running across the map. Knight is on low HP. Eagle could try to pick it off. But 2 scouts in the area, that eagle not going to live. Scout has to get back, but it's now going to get picked off. As it's going to try to run away, maybe try to get back to its gate, or at least try to get back to these plumed archers, and it is going to get away. And monk coming out right now for cool, going to collect up that relic. st4rk hasn't invested in a monastery yet, just putting up his second town center. And more monks coming out for ACCM. See, looks like he might try to go for that relic. And monk still hasn't picked up the relic, just healing up the knights. And st4rk just kind of hanging around his base right now. ACCM still hasn't added in another town center, so it looks like he's going to stay on 1 TC for quite a while, as he's bringing in his first relic and just picking up his second right now. And relics coming in for cool. So the Vietnamese team looks like they did a good job of securing the relics. But villagers, slight advantage for Vinchester since he did go immediately for those extra town centers. And st4rk now with his second town center will also be ahead of ACCM. So again, we're going to see a stronger economy from Vinchester and st4rk, but now villagers are coming forward. Byzantine player has gotten out enough monks that they've started to get an advantage, and now Mangonel and Ram also forward as the wolf tries to get involved. ACCM's Xing that he's going to come and build a castle here. And if we check his scouting, he sees that a gold's there and a gold's there, and he sees that farm there, so maybe he thinks there's a town center there protecting gold. But it looks like he's planning on building a castle somewhere in this location. If he builds it here, that could be a big problem for Vinchester, as it could be in range of that town center, and he looks like that's where he's going with it. Of course, Vinchester will see this because he has a gate there. And we'll have to check how does Vinchester want to react to this. Hasn't seen it yet, but he sees the villages, and now he sees it starting to go up. Immediately he's Xing it, saying it's there. And ooh, a massive plumed archer is coming in, trying to pick off monks. But knights are there as well, and they're going to force the plumed archers away and get a couple of conversions, as there's enough mangonels here and knights as well to force the plumed archers away, and this castle is going to go up. Vinchester trying to put a watchtower up behind it. That's a fun thing you can do if there's an enemy dropping a castle on you. You build a watchtower behind it, and if you get it up fast enough, you can shoot the villagers, but the ram's going to soak up the fire from the tower. It needs to manually target the villagers if he wants to kill them, and tower is not actually going to kill any of the villagers, just going to focus everything on the ram. All the villagers are there, and they're probably going to go build a mining camp on that gold soon, as the mangonels here to start taking down the tower along with the castle. That'll go down pretty quickly. And enough knights here from Cool. I was well coordinated to keep the plumed archers away and get the castle up. And if we look now at ACCM's economy, he's getting close to what the Byzantines need to go imp. And they're also almost through that gate. So we'll see if he decides to go for the 1TC Byzantine Imperial Age, or just to continue pushing in Castle Age, because we have knights with +1 defense right now for Cool, and not much here to defend from Vinchester. He didn't wall behind it. He's wide open. He's forced off of gold. He doesn't have a safe gold that he can take now, but it looks like he's taking stone, but he's still a good distance away from being able to put up a castle. He was about to click up to the Imperial Age. Will he still be able to do that? Making some scouts, putting down more stables, and ACCM, here we go, buying food. And he's going 1TC, castle into Imperial Age. Very strong build with the Byzantines, as this town center is going to be denied pretty soon, and knights and scouts and converted plumed archers are running throughout Vinchester's economy. He has only 4 military units right now and nothing to defend this, but here comes st4rk with quite a lot of plumed archers, but they're not going to be able to engage those mangonels, especially not under the castle. Maybe they can clean up some of these scouts and knights, but right now Vinchester putting down a market. He was getting ready to go to the Imperial Age, but he still has a whole bunch of resources he's not spending, not even making any knights from the stables. He doesn't even have any of the upgrades on his knights, and he's going to be relying on st4rk to clean this up and let him click up to imp. But st4rk meanwhile is on 1, 2, 3 town centers, and doesn't look like he's added in a 4th yet. Hasn't taken that relic. But he's being forced to spend a lot of resources defending his opponent instead of concentrating on his boom. And now Vinchester going for the defensive castle, so now he'll be safe. But see, both our Vietnamese players already up to the Imperial Age. They're going to have trebuchets out pretty soon. That castle probably won't stay up for long. And this gold now completely denied, as that town center is just about to go down. Those villagers trying desperately to repair it, but with 3 mangonels there, and it's not going to stay up much longer. It needs to be careful though that the mangonel isn't in range of the castle. Looks like it isn't. Well, it looks like Vinch is keeping just enough villagers there to repair the town center, but that's going to cost him a lot of wood. And now the scouts are coming in to try to pick off the villagers. They can no longer garrison because his HP is so low. But a few scouts and a knight's going to force those scouts back. And we see plumed archers being X'd over here. But there's a castle here. I don't know if they'll be able to come in from behind, but that town center is so close to going down, and he spent so much wood repairing it, and there it goes, killing his own scout in the process. And scouts are forced away now. And if you look at ACCM, we'll probably see trebuchet coming out of that castle. Yep, Plume's getting some kills on the villagers, but they'll come up and garrison in the castle. Has more plumes moving out, but knights coming in from Cool, and he's doing the Cavalier upgrade now. st4rk just now clicking up to imp. He was a bit behind, but if we look at these economies, Vinchester's on 92 villagers. ACCM went for that 1 town center Imperial Age. He's only on 40 villagers, just now adding in his 2nd town center to try to protect that gold. As Vinchester's adding in a castle here to try to protect this gold and this stone. And he's now producing quite a few knights, and It's under a lot of pressure, but our Vietnamese players need to keep these trebuchets alive to take out these castles, because Vinchester, let's see, hasn't clicked up to the Imperial Age, has been spending resources nowhere near the Imperial Age yet. And now knights coming in from the back, these monks need to get some conversions. They're not starting, or let's see. Oh no, those are his allies' knights. Got the colors mixed up. Just standing here to defend those trebuchets. This castle is now being repaired, costing Vinchester's stone, and they're just grouping their army up here because they can't push into the mangonels and castles with the plumed archers, and they can't really engage under the castles yet without the upgrades on these knights. And it's going to be just knights against cavaliers. Cavaliers, they're just going to stand there in front of the trebuchets as more cavaliers are coming in across the map. And if you look at Cool's economy, he has a really large economy. Let's see, 3 town centers, and looks like he's just stayed on 3 town centers, and he's going to be adding in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stables. He's just going to be concentrating on adding in more and more cavalier, and might be saving up for that paladin upgrade, but he's going to lose a few cavaliers to the plumed archers, getting a bit out of position. But this castle about to go down, 3 trebuchets out. Vinchester isn't going to be able to repair that much longer. Down it goes. As ACCM able to push in, we'll be able to take out this town center next, and this one right after it. And still, not much army here for Vinchester. He was caught trying to save up for the Imperial Age, but wasn't able to do it, didn't have the safety he needed, and he's just now adding in barracks, and it looks like he's going to be trying to make some Castle Age pikemen to try and deal with these cavalier, as now the cavalier are able to spread out and start pressuring st4rk space as well. And this castle just keeping these trebuchets so safe because the plumed archers can't engage underneath it. And bombard cannon even being added in as well from the Byzantines. We see some barracks coming up too, so it looks like he'll be adding in maybe some pikemen to try to deal with these knights from Vinchester. And town center going down. Plumed archers now trying to move in as the cavalry are a bit out of position, but will they be able to do anything? As they are still normal plumed archers, not elite yet. And the mangonels with chemistry done, trying to get some shots in at them. And can we get a good mangonel shot here? Nope, plumes are going to run in and snipe the mangonel. Here's a conversion, but will this one get anything? Nope. The cavaliers are coming in, trying to engage the plumes, but the last of the mangonels goes down. But Vinchester's running out of knights over here, as the monks are able to get some converts on them. A few spearmen even out for a Byzantine player, 1 treb going down, but only a few more knights left. And not much left from Vinchester. Trying to rebuild town centers in the back, but he's not taking any gold anymore. And another castle coming forward for the Byzantines player. Once those cavaliers decide to ride off that foundation, there we go, starts going up. And the other players just continuing to send their army here. Cavaliers will be able to pick off maybe a couple plumes as the paladin upgrade's just about to finish for VNS Cool. And monks going to force the plumes away, even get a conversion. And now paladin upgrade is finished. All of the defense upgrades are finished, and the paladin are safe to move out and engage against the plumes. Just a few pikemen without even all their castle age upgrades aren't going to be too much of a threat, even with their attack bonus versus the paladin. And lots of villagers going to go down. Something's being X'd here. A few paladin in the eco over here as well, and so many villagers going down now for Vinchester. And doesn't look like he'll be able to last that much longer, as putting up a town center back here, but that's not a very safe place for a town center. And ACCM's just Xing that part of the map. And he's paladin, even fighting against pikemen. A few more plumes coming in, but not quite enough. st4rk only has about 34 plumed archers right now, and we see VNS Cool, 40 paladin, and continuing to stream more across the map. Now, coming up with a siege workshop, getting ready to pressure into st4rk space. as Vinchester continues losing town centers and continues losing villagers. And if we go check at ACCM, what does he have? He has some rams inside of these. Oh, this is cool. I will get these colors right eventually. He has a capped ram and getting ready to push into this Mines player. The Mines player now adding in Halberdier, and we'll see if there's anything else that our players can add in to counter that. Byzantine player still on Spearman. Does have chemistry, so he could add in some hand cannon. Could also just go for some skirmishers. But now the Halberdier are coming out. These plumed archers trying to trap themselves into a narrow gap so the paladin can't attack them all at once. And just now trying to buy themselves even just a tiny bit of time. But if you look at the villager count, Vinchester now, who had such a large economy, but now it's all been destroyed. He's down to about the same as ACCM, who is still on 2 town centers, still just pushing through, using that strong Byzantine push with their cheap Imperial Age to get the castles up and get the trebs out fast enough to destroy all those defensive castles from Vinchester. And now bombard cannons taking out these barracks, and Halberdier is able to protect these villagers for a bit, but this paladin could probably be running in here to get some kills. And Vinchester again denied from that gold as well, just desperately putting up more and more town centers further and further away from his original base as he tries to run his economy away. But Stark, just with plumed archers, probably doesn't have the units he needs to be able to deal with this, as it looks like more villagers are going down right here. And in come the Halberdier as the villagers try to get back into the town center, but the monks are going to be able to force the plumes away, and if you can convert some plumes, they could kill the Halberdier as well. But this town center now with the trebuchet and even a bombard cannon taking out the market. That town center won't last long. And looks like there's also a bit of an engagement here, as now the lots and lots of siege rams coming in from Aoe2 Cool, as he's going to take out that castle, take out that gate, build more siege workshops forward, and now send Paladin into Stark's base. And as these castles go down, that's going to stop the plumed archer production. Plumes have to come back to defend as that town center goes down. All those villagers go down. Just a huge massacre now. Stark has gotten up to a good number of about like 50 or so military, 60 military with plumes and Halberdier. We'll be able to force them away, keep Vinchester's farmers working for a bit longer, but Vinchester is really far behind at this point, down to 43 villagers. And these rams, looks like they'll be able to take out a castle. All these barracks not able to produce Halberdier fast enough to take out the rams before the castles go down. No villagers coming in to repair, that castle's going down. And Stark just lost a castle on his front, so Stark now looks like he's down to a single castle. And that's really going to stop his plumed archers production. Once this group of plumes goes down, that's pretty much it. Is Vinchester just desperately trying to run his villagers further and further away. But I don't think there's much he can do at this point to come back, as another castle is coming forward for ACCM. And only this one last group of plumes staying alive for Stark, as he looks like he will keep this castle up, those rams a bit too far forward, nothing really to kill the Halberdier. But there's the GG from Stark. And a very well-timed push there from ACCM, staying on 1 town center, making the castle, and taking advantage of that Byzantine cheaper Imperial Age. So let's look at the achievements and military stats. We see Vinchester he lost a lot. Aoe2 Cool was able to get a pretty nice boom and kill a lot with those paladins, and ACCM, even though he doesn't have many units killed or units lost, the timing of that push and the positioning of his units was really important. And we see Vinchester, lots of stone collected, had to spend it repairing those castles, and here we see Aoe2 Cool, food and gold, exactly what he needs for paladins, is about 28 minutes up to the Imperial Age with ACCM, and lots of villagers for Vinchester, but really not able to do anything with that economy. Alright, so that's Game 1 and Game 2, both go to the Vietnamese team. And we'll see in Game 3 if st4rk and Vinchester manage to stay alive or if they're going to drop out. So thanks very much for watching, and we'll get into Game 3 next.